Dr. Andrea Maxim, naturopathic doctor here from Caledonia and Oakville, Ontario. And today what I wanted to focus on is how we can start cleaning up our cosmetics in order to get towards optimal health, prevent hormonal imbalances, and start to lose some of that weight that we've been carrying around on our hips, buttocks, and thighs. So a big thing that I do in my practice is try to stabilize my patients' hormones. And what makes it difficult for me is not necessarily that they're deficient in something, but that they're chronically being exposed to chemicals that they might not even be aware of, or you might not even be aware of that you're being exposed to. The big thing that I'm fighting with is something called estrogen toxicity. When we're seeing women with menstrual irregularities, severe PMS symptoms, fibrocystic breasts, or worse if we start developing estrogen-positive cancers, ovarian cysts, fibroids, endometriosis, a lot of the time it's because we're developing this toxic accumulation of man-made or synthetic estrogens, also known as xenoestrogens. When that happens, it can actually deposit into our female predominant tissues or our gynecological tissues and start causing growths to happen. What we need to start doing is avoiding our exposure to those chemicals and start flushing them out of the system. One of the key things that I look at when I'm looking at my patients is how their fat is being distributed. So we know that high amounts of cortisol or stress will usually cause that spare tire muffin top type presentation when it comes to fat distribution. But what I'm seeing most often with my patients with estrogen toxicity is a lot of a fat accumulation around the hips, buttocks, and thighs. And it's very easy to remove, but we need to stop the exposures before we can even eliminate it from the body. So estrogens, or these xenoestrogens, don't only come from our cosmetics and our shampoos and conditioners, but we can also get it from our food, from the meats that we're consuming. We can get it from the waters that we're drinking. Any of those things can cause estrogen toxicity in the body. But what I wanted to highlight for this video in particular is the dirty dozen, the top 12 cosmetic ingredients that we must avoid. And what you'll see highlighted here are parabens and phthalates. Those are the most studied and the most linked to a lot of the conditions that we just talked about with regards to estrogen toxicity. The last one you'll see is fragrance. And anytime we see fragrance on the label, basically, as I wrote down here, it is just a chemical shitstorm, and it prevents the companies from having to label all of the potential toxic chemicals that are in those ingredients that we're being exposed to on a daily basis. Now here's just a few examples of the cosmetics or toothpaste or makeup that we're putting on our bodies. So this first one, you can see already there's 4 highlighted toxic ingredients that we definitely can be avoiding. This next one, as most women are putting on some form of concealer, we see 4, again, of the top toxic ingredients. This is an interesting one that I wanted to show because it's coming from the Body Shop, and we often think that the Body Shop is making all natural, 100% organic or chemical-free products, and that's not necessarily the case. You do have to become a smart shopper when you're buying these cosmetics and lotions. And you can see here there's already 5 of the top toxic cosmetics that we do need to be avoiding. And then toothpaste, and most people don't think of toothpaste as anything that could be toxic, but remember, we're putting that right into our mouth, so those chemicals are getting right into our bloodstream. And with this Colgate whitening toothpaste, there's 3 of the top toxic chemicals that we need to be avoiding, plus, which I found interesting, there's even sucralose in this toothpaste, and sucralose is a toxic sugar that our body does not know how to convert into anything healthy or nutritious, and it causes a lot of issues because it is a chemical sweetener. Now, if you were to go through your cupboards and into your bathroom and into your shower and pull some of these products, what I want you to do is go onto this website. It is the Skin Deep website sponsored by the Environmental Working Group, and you'll see the website link below. And what you can do is you can search for any of the products that you have in your household, and I'd really encourage you to do this, especially if you have youngsters at home, and figure out where on the hazard scale, your cosmetics are coming from. So here's an example. I just wanted to pull up a common shampoo that people are using, and you can see already on this toxic scale it is a 5. So I tell my patients if it's a 4 or higher, you gotta throw it out because we're just being exposed to too many chemicals when we could be using some all-natural alternatives. So this Tresemme shampoo, if we look here, it breaks it down into why it's considered a 5 out of 10 on the hazard scale and sort of what health conditions it's actually affecting. So we can see here we're seeing a moderate amount of overall health exposure, so there is, and that's why it's a 5 out of 10. We're seeing a little bit with regards to it affecting reproductive toxicity. So if my female patients or male patients are having difficulties conceiving, maybe it's something that you're exposing yourself to every single day that's preventing you from reaching fertility or from reaching that optimal pregnancy. Allergies and immunotoxicity. So we can see for this shampoo it's on that moderate to high phase. What that means is if you're suffering from chronic allergies or a low immune system, this shampoo in particular could be causing the issue, and it's not until we avoid it that we can start getting our body back to where we want it to go. Again, when we're looking at the ingredients, we can see fragrance, and as I said, chemical shitstorm is on the top of the top hazards that come with this shampoo. So it's an 8 on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst. Then we're seeing some other ingredients here, and you can actually click on each one of these and read a little bit more about why they're toxic. Now, once we start removing these toxic chemicals from our body and choosing healthier alternatives like Green Beaver or Kiss My Face or Jason, all of those are the shampoos and conditioners and toothpaste that I personally use, and I don't even notice a difference. Once we start removing them, that's when we can really start healing the body. And I often put my patients on an estrogen cleanse or an estrogen detox. And usually within the end of the first month, we're noticing significant improvements to their menstrual cycle, to the way they're carrying their weight, to how they feel. But remember that we have to keep avoiding those toxins as we continue. Now, if it's a little bit more of a complicated issue, we can do some further lab testing in the office. And one of the new tests brought on by the Rocky Mountain Analytical Laboratories in Calgary, Alberta, is this urine steroid hormone test. And what it is a 24-hour collection of urine, and then we send it away to the lab, and it gives us an incredibly in-depth look at all of the hormones in our bodies and how they're being metabolized through our urine. So it not only tests estrogens, but it also does progesterone, testosterone, and it allows us to see it on the scale of if we're excreting a lot, not a lot, where it's depositing in the tissues, and it gives me a lot of information on how to treat you better. So if anything, please just go into your bathroom and pull out all of those toxic chemicals and replace them with healthier alternatives. Use the Skin Deep website as your guide and start getting healthier today. If you have any other questions for me, please don't hesitate to contact me. The phone number and the email is coming up next, and I hope you have a happy and healthy day.